the current workplace is undergoing a revolution.
As senior company leaders are aging, their outdated office and cubicle ideology is going with them. Google, a company whose median age of employee is 29, has eradicated cubicles from their main Bay Area offices, and more
youthful tech companies are following their lead. Millennials now make up the largest part of the workforce. The U.S. Census claims that nearly 1/3 of Americans work are millennials, nearly 1 million more than the next closest age demographic.
Our high-tech lifestyle and aggressive nature demands workplaces that cater to us,
not limit us.
Millennials crave to interact with each other.
We excel best when we bounce ideas around with one another until we attain the most successful and efficient results.
This communal thinking and work style has blended into modern art and media through corporations
like BuzzFeed, Facebook, Saturday Night Live, and YouTube. These companies play a large part in our everyday lives.
From answering our many questions throughout the day, sharing the lives of our friends and loved ones,
funny videos about guys trying new things, a show people flock around, or reviews on our favorite products.
The whatevers predict that this shift towards more communal workspaces that cater to workers' lifestyles will continue as more millennials join the workforce.
My name is Jeffrey R. Houghton. I am 52 years old.
Yeah, my name is Tiara Sawyer. I'm 18.
Carla Lounsbury. I'm 54.
Haley Abernathy. I'm 18 years old.
So my name's Becky Cole, and I'm a junior. I'm 20 years old.
Gavin Rogers, from Ambler, PA. I'm 19 years old.
My name is Allison Fox. I am 25 years old.
And this is my dad, Michael Berkowitz.
My age is over the age of 39.
I'm doing music education. I hope to be like a music teacher and then pursue Broadway, hopefully.
I am a research engineer at Air Products and Chemicals in Allentown, PA.
I am a organizational development major, and I'm on the path to go to grad school for higher education in hopes to work in residential life and counseling and things like that.
I'm an air traffic controller staff specialist.
I am majoring in electromechanical engineering, and my future occupation is currently undecided at the moment, but I would like to do something along the lines of technology-based.
Occupation is I am in advertising, sales, broadcast. I work now for NBC 10, where I've worked for 8 years. Prior to that, 21 years at CBS Radio.
I am a full-time resident director here at Temple University.
I'm a student at the CST, which is College of Science Technology. I study biology pre-med, so hopefully one day I'll be a doctor.
I have a lot of ideas about millennials, but definition-wise, I guess it's a certain age gap.
Probably somebody who's like a little more wild than, I guess, past generations have been.
Millennial is a young person. So like a person who's younger than 30.
A millennial, the official definition is that it's someone within the age group of, I believe it's 18 to 35 in 2015, and so someone that fits in that age category.
A little more free spirit, a little more individual rather than fitting to the norm of society.
I would say millennials are about 16 to 34 or 18 to 34, something like that.
So like 80s to like early, like late 90s sort of, early 2000s?
Yeah, I think of millennials as born up to the year 2000. I'm not sure if that's exactly technically correct.
I don't know if this would be like a stereotype, but it's somebody who is oftentimes interested in like entrepreneurship and like success, and we're kind of all on sort of this conveyor belt to go into college and join the workforce.
I do think millennials are very smart. It's not like, I don't think they're lazy at all. I just think they've got a little unfocused.
A millennial is just like the age gap, right?
Something I think we all strive towards for like that idea of the American dream or something like that. So.
No, I'm just kidding.
Like when there's an issue that comes up in the office that a lot of the younger people, the millennials, will get upset about. And the senior people who have been around and experienced more just have a better point of reference that it's not as big a deal. You know, you're worrying too much about something that's not that significant in the big picture.
Not really ecstatic about it.
Why not?
I feel like we're lazy, that we don't have much drive to do much anymore.
They work hard. They work effectively. They do juggle a lot of things because a lot of those people have families, young families now.
How are they changing the work environment? Well, I am surprised. They're not as technological as I would always expect them to be. You know me, I'm pretty technologically inclined. Yeah. So, you know, whether it's doing anything on the computer with a program, editing videos, or building complicated Excel spreadsheets, I do that really well. And a lot of the young people are not as proficient with that as I would think they would. That said, there are a number of people my age who are the opposite of me and still can't figure out how to build a basic Excel spreadsheet. So at least the millennials come in more proficient, you know, in general.
Yeah. Probably say I actually don't like it a lot of the time. It comes with a lot of really negative connotations. Sometimes I like it. It means I'm young. But there are a lot of negative connotations with it.
They don't get a lot of cultural references that get made in the office, but that certainly is just it's not a significant thing. It's just, you know, somebody will make a reference to something that Johnny Carson would say on the show, and everybody above a certain age will get it and laugh if appropriate or whatever, and the young people just say, okay, that one was predates me.
I think it has its ups and downs. I think it's good because I personally feel happy that I have a goal that I'm working towards. That's nice, but I also, you know, it can be hard and stressful sometimes to have a lot of pressure, because I think millennials have a lot of pressure put on them. So, yeah.
You know, it's great to have young thinking, new thinking very often, you know, because while I talked before about how, you know, we have better perspective, we also tend to get more set in our ways in the sales process, in thinking outside of the box, in ways to approach a selling situation, in selling a lot of the internet things, which, you know, a lot of us were selling broadcast our whole life. Now we're selling internet, we're selling the ads you see in taxi cabs, if you ever get in a taxi cab, because sometimes we also have access to sell the ads you see in elevators and some of the high rises. So we sell a lot more assets that are more difficult for the senior sellers to wrap their heads around. And the younger ones are more open to thinking of different ways of selling.
Oh, I think we're great. I think that there's a lot of things like bad, like negative connotation about millennials, but like I don't think that that's all true about all of us. I think it's not true about most of us.
I think millennials sort of pride themselves on being able to like multitask, and I guess one question would be, seriously, can you really do that?
I spend a lot of time with millennials in the workplace. I think that some of those stereotypes are definitely true. Even when I'm sitting in meetings with students and things like that, it's hard for them and even myself sometimes to put away the cell phone, turn off the computer, and fully focus on the person you're talking with.
I don't think I interact a lot more differently. A lot of times, you know, with people who are closer to my age, you have shared experiences, so you have a point of reference that sometimes in your conversation you'll use.
Well, like, talking to, like, my dad, he's like, you guys are so lazy. I kind of, like, don't like you guys. Like, he's more like, okay, let's get up and do this and that. And we're kind of just like, let's just not. Let me look at online to figure out, like, easier ways to do stuff.
You know, I think humans are humans, and the generation does make a difference because guys, you know, they grew up with a lot more stuff in their childhood, which creates sort of a different type of human for the most part as far as the way they're wired. But I'm not 100% convinced that millennials can do everything that they say that they potentially can do.
I feel as though like older generations like look down on us just because they're like, oh, these kids are so wild.
I don't think they can stay on task for very long before they have to do something else.
That we're lazy, that like we always try to find like the easy way out, and that we're too opinionated.
They don't respect the way that we've kind of like chosen to live our lives.
I think that they are very, very technology dependent. They are very competent as well with technology, which is good. But they also have a big sense of entitlement, a lot of privilege. I think a lot of them also think that they are very feelers, where they want to love what they do and not necessarily have a job that pays well and things like that, although they care about money a lot as well.
I think they have a short attention span too.
So, like, have you ever heard, like, the baby boomers, they're like, my day, we did this and this and that, and you guys just want to text all day.
Always on their cell phones. They text and drive. They talk on the phone and they drive.
But I think that we're not lazy. I think that we have technology. We are not trekking up the hill and back 1 mile through the snow to get to school. Like, if we have something at our fingertips and we use it, like, that's not being lazy, it's being resourceful. And so I think that, like, we're able to use all these different things to our benefit so we can get ahead in life faster. And that's not lazy, it's resourceful.
They don't really like the decisions that we make, or maybe, you know, if they are closed-minded, they probably don't like on such open-mindedness.
I think a lot of times they think that we're like messing up the economy, or that we don't understand like our effect with technology and things like that, and that we're changing the way that like the workforce works in general.
They're always on their computer if they're not on their phone, but then they're on their phone while they're on their computer.
But I think it's also, there's a lot of entitlement, especially with today's college students. They want what they want, and they want it now, and they have a very large sense of immediacy.
Trying to be super efficient.
Powerful, like
trying to seek more balance across a bunch of different things than trying to really achieve, excellence, let's say, in one or two areas.
Right.
Opinionated, but like very, what's the word? Like, we really get things done, and like when there's something wrong, we go and we try to change it. And I think like we're all about like justice and like equality and stuff.
My work ethic is different than like other people's work ethics. Like, I'm very much like, okay, I'm gonna do my job right to the best quality that I could be doing.
Well, I think we have a good work ethic. I think a lot of us are a little on the lazy side, but I think we have a good work ethic overall.
Very normal, I guess you would call people. Not any, like, I didn't have any rough experiences, if that's what you're asking.
So this is my theory about my generation. So my parents' generation grew up in the Depression and everything, right? So they grew up in hardship. And then you have the baby boomers, like your father, who sort of grew up earlier, but they grew up with some hardship too.
But the one thing I have noticed is that I think a lot of those folks, they get in at 9 or 8 or 9, they leave at 4 or 5. I don't see a lot of people like really staying late or really working over normal hours.
And like other workers my age, they'd be like, okay, let's give it to Tiara because she'll do my part, and I won't do my part 110%. So it's like I'm picking up the slack, so I'm doing 150 when the other person's only doing like 50.
So I do think my generation was given a lot of stuff by our parents that the generation before us didn't get.
As a resident assistant, so I kind of have that feel for the workplace. But the reason I personally want to go into this type of field, like residential life, is because I like the culture and the way that people work.
I don't know if that's part of the times or the age group or what, or maybe the commitments they have to other things like family.
Right. So you would say that their work ethic is different than
Like yours?
Definitely than, yeah, I would.
Or your age group?
I think the age group,
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
I would say that's true.
I'm in like a Delbert kind of cubicle. You know, Delbert, that cartoon.
You watch TV, you see commercials, you see in TV, it's the primary length of a commercial is 30 seconds, but we also sell 15 seconds and 60 seconds. So that commercial time, we meet with the advertisers, the clients, and we put together packages, and we will sell them the airtime. In radio, it's generally 60 seconds is the primary unit, but either way, we're selling the commercials and sponsorships and packages and also internet we sell now. We have lots of like if you were to watch the Voice on Demand or This Is Us, you were to go on your computer and watch it, and there'll be commercials inserted. Those we sell those too. So there's all sorts of in addition to just regular TV, we sell.
My workspace primarily consists of an office. I would say 10-foot by 12-foot square office with one door and a window to the outside.
It's different at every station. Right now, the way our station is structured, and I say right now because we will be moving in a year, we actually have offices with a door and full walls around it. That's not as traditional in the broadcast industry. More advertising account executives, which is what you call them, sit in cubicle type spaces. So where there may or may not be a door, but there's not a full wall. The wall will only go up maybe 7 or 8 feet high.
I personally like the work environment that I'm in now because I think it's a good culture of communication between like staff members and higher. Like my boss, I have great communication with my boss, and I think that's important. So you know what the purpose of your position is, and you know what your job is as an employee. So I think open lines of communication, and I think that's something a lot of millennials are looking to change the culture of workplace.
So it's going to be a much more open feel in general. So that's the new push of the new office designs, and our office will be like that as well. So we will have even the walled offices where senior management will sit will be 100% glass. So that all the light comes through, so it's more of an open feel. There won't be the office, the conference rooms will be all glass. So when you stand at any spot in our office and you look around, you'll be able to see in every office, see all the people working all around. So it'll be a much more open feel than the traditional office, which is what our 60-year-old building is right now.
I also work in a lab, so the lab can be a conventional chemistry lab and also a high bay space, which is more of a larger open area for larger equipment and work with larger equipment.
Yeah, there are 4 of us in our team, so our cubes are all like together, so there are 2 of us that are together and then we're crossing the other 2. So I'm directly across from one guy, and then the other 2 I know they're there, but I can't see them. But we'll like roll our chairs out, to the middle, and then we can all like talk together. So we have a table in between the cubes where we'll get together and talk and meet.
And we also have what's called a bay area at work, which is where what we call the traffic department, the people who work on creating the logs, that when you watch a TV station, all the programming and all the commercials, and public service announcements and everything all has to be coordinated in a log. It's all done via computer now. It used to be done years ago in paper, but now, that's all done in what's called the traffic department, which may be like 5 or 6 people. And then there's more people that enter orders and have to do lots of the paperwork that gets involved with billing advertisers and everything.
Okay, so I work at Chipotle, and if everyone doesn't work as hard as everyone else does, it's going to get messed up. It doesn't matter how hard you work. Everyone else suffers because not everyone's working as hard.
My computer, actually, I have a laptop. I don't have a desktop in my cube. It's a laptop. I can pick it up. I can take it wherever I want. There's like wireless in the building, so I can go all over the building.
I do look forward to, throughout the day, we have coffee breaks, so we'll all get together and we go to a sort of a breakout area.
So that whole area is a big open floor. So in that, and they can talk to each other. Hey, did you do this? Do you need this? Did you see this commercial come in? Did you, there's a lot of conversation, and in that environment, I think it works best to be an open bay.
We all work hard, where everyone's happy and everyone's nice to each other, and I don't have to get yelled at. That's great.
I'd like to go into a workplace where it's very fun-based, very exciting, very, different.
I like flowers. I like plants. I like outside. So I feel like my office would be like kind of like my room. If I were allowed to have plants and animals, I would have plants and animals.
I think where everyone works equally as hard.
I like the more traditional like office settings, but I'm not a huge like put up cubicles or things like that. Like I think an open, and I think that's a common millennial like ideal is that we're having like just like the communication, like physically open space in an office where it's comfortable to talk to the people that you're working with, because that's really important. So
yeah, mixed feelings. It's nice when you're on a heated phone conversation with a client to have the privacy of a door and four walls, so that you don't hang up the phone and everybody chimes in from around. Oh, that was an interesting conversation.
So like I'd say like a positive like environment where like everyone like is kind but like working hard.
I tend to be a little bit of an introvert and an extrovert, but mostly introvert, so I do like having a space of my own.
I love a work environment that's very collaborative. I love to work with other people and build a good personal relationship, but also a good work relationship, because I think they go hand in hand. I like working with people that are driven and go-getters and very supportive of each other, both at work and outside of work as well.
The workspace where they all had to sit on the ground and that they weren't really crazy about that. But what do you think like the overall feeling in your field is towards this sort of shift to a newer workspace?
Well, I can tell you from whether they're millennials or whether they're people my age, in sales specifically, we all want offices with doors. And I know people at other stations, and that doesn't matter whether you're a millennial or you're not. So, because to do our jobs comfortably and properly, we all believe that we need to have privacy. And if you're going to prospect, right? I don't do as much prospecting at this point in my career, but young people have to prospect, and that means picking up the phone and sometimes making uncomfortable calls. You're calling a new person. Who handles your advertising? Can I come and talk? And a lot of times you get rude people that hang up, and it can be uncomfortable. And it's a lot more comfortable when you have the privacy. So for some reason, the businesses all think you need to be open air, whereas everybody, millennial, baby boomer, whatever age you are, all prefers the privacy for when they're in sales. So there, I don't see a difference, and we all talk about it.
I like to have other people around. I like to work alone sometimes, but I think you get much better ideas when you got lots of people working together, and that's how my team works, because we all have different ideas and we come from different backgrounds, and somebody will come up with some idea and the other person will be like, that's crazy, and they'll say why, and then it's like, oh yeah. So getting input from a lot of people with different backgrounds is good.
It's awkward to have to get up, I think, to get up and go to another area when you have to make a call than where you are doing your primary job. It would be nice to be able to have the best of both worlds, where you could be open when you want to be and closed, private when you need that as well.
I don't want to work in a cubicle. I don't want to work where I go into work and I do something the same every single day. I want to do constantly doing something different, constantly being having to change each and every day.
I like bright colors. I like Christmas lights. That's my go-to design. But I don't know if I like an office space as much as I like being able just be organized wherever I am. So I'd like to be more with a lot of people around me, not just an office.
Having a place where everybody can sort of throw around ideas and talk about things is also useful.
My impression of these workplaces is just like a free for all, right? You walk in and then you just like grab a plug and you plug in and you go to work, right?
Very boring, like cubicles, like not really much happening.
I think there's a very stereotypical work environment. So like there's always that like, oh, people in business suits and like working in offices and things like that. I also think there's a lot of, unfortunately, sexism in our world and portrayal of that in the media.
Well, the places like BuzzFeed have workout facilities too, right?
I think Google does. And Google also has like a playground.
Work environments can be described as that cubicle job, or they can be described as something where it is very entertaining.
I think it varies. I think you either see like cubicles and people that like hate each other, very focused and money and greedy, or you see people that don't ever work and are not very driven.
Internship. And that's where I first got really introduced to the idea of working to me on Google. Then there's other shows too, like The Office, Parks and Rec, where they introduce like a different type of working environment. Still like interesting for sure. Obviously not real, but where it is more just desk based. Come in, do your work, you leave.
So, I mean, women still are getting equal pay. And so I think we see a lot of that portrayed, whereas like a boss being somebody who's a man who's in charge, whereas if it's a woman, we're seeing somebody who's seen as like bossy instead of boss. And so I think there's a lot of gender roles that play into that when we see like commercialization of workplaces and things like that. But yeah, I don't know if it's exactly what I specifically as a millennial have in mind of a workplace that you would see in advertisement.
Well, there's like two extremes. There's like the boring, and then there's like, why is it always like hypersexualized? Like that's definitely like it's like, okay, we're all having sex in the office or something. It's either like super boring or like way too exciting to be real. I think that's how it's portrayed.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.